I know that there is a God and Jesus. I know there is. And I really firmly believe that. I know that the world today is much more difficult than it was when I was a child and growing up and even raising my family. It's changed so much. There's so many things that I know, well, I feel to be true. I know that Colorado Springs is not the city that it was when we moved here. Crime is just completely out of control right now in this city. And all you have to do is turn on the radio every morning. And all those things I know to be true. Our world is, I keep thinking, how long is God going to put up with this? You know, these things that are going on right now. But so many people just, they don't have God in their life, or we would not be in the mess we are in right now. So those are things that I don't appreciate. I know I have a loving family, and family is so important to me. So, and I think, and I'm sure that to my family, we are important to them too. As I told them, I said, you're not going to get away from our voices after this little sessions we are having. You're going to be able to turn on that little camera and hear us all your lives, you know. So, and even maybe the kids, or they can tell them later that our voices. So that's important. Anything we do as a family is important. And going to churches, we just don't even think about it. We just know when Sunday comes, we're going to church. And it's just, it's the way it's always been from the very beginning. I guess maybe that's the reason we've lasted 60 years, I don't know. But probably one of the things, just keeping God number one in our lives.
My faith is, I've had a lot of opportunities to grow my faith, and I think that most people, if they would think back over the years, what's happened, there's two ways you can do that. You can say, well, you know, all of these good things happened. I don't know why, but they just happened. I guess I was just lucky, you know. Or you can equate that with something that is more real, which is God. And I've had two incidents that happened that I should not be sitting here now. One of them was that when I was a junior in high school, of course I drove a tractor all the time, and we had two fields, and one of the tractors got stuck, and so my dad came over and wanted me to unhook and come over and pull him out, and so I did, and I had about a mile down the road to go, and the brakes on my tractor were supposed to be locked together so that when you hit them, both wheels, and for some reason either I didn't lock them or it came apart, and so I had to slow down a little bit. And I hit the brakes, and well, it just hit the left one, and it flipped the tractor down over a bank. And you just don't live when you do that. What happened was that I was underneath the tractor. There was just a little cutout, just about big enough for my body. That's where it went. That's where my body was, and the tractor was on top of me. But there was a crevice that I just barely fit into. So it knocked me out, but not for very long. And I heard Dad driving, going back over because I wasn't there, and he couldn't figure out why I wasn't there. And I heard him, and I hollered, and when he drove by, and he heard it. And he came down. He just, you know, couldn't believe that I was alive, and they had to dig me out. They had to take part of the tractor apart in order to get me. And so you think about that, and I guess God wasn't ready for me to go yet, and that's. But when the tractor accident happened, I didn't even know there was a God. Basically, because I wasn't raised in a church. Everything that was about the church and everything was pretty negative, in my life. So I think about that. Why would God save someone that He doesn't even know who you are? And that's had quite an impact on me in looking at other people and working with other people that also don't know who God is. You just don't know, what He knows and what He's going to do with you.
I didn't have any traumatic things like Bill has gone through, but I've had pneumonia now twice. And the first time I had it, the doctor wouldn't put me in the hospital, and I refused to go. And so Bill was my caregiver. And when it was all over, I had to go back in for a checkup, and he says, "Well, you made it, but I wouldn't do that again." And then in January, I had it worse. I had it to the point where when I got back in off my cruise, I was really, really sick, and before that day was out, I was in the hospital for 4 days, and I had to go back to I have another doctor now, and she just made a remark about, she was really surprised that I made it. So I guess God is not finished with me yet. Well, it seems like every time anything traumatic, sickness or anything like that, He's there. And He's not finished with me yet. I feel like He'd probably give me a little bit more time. I don't know what His plans are, but God has always been there through everything, all through our marriage. He's been there, helping us through. All of those things make me grow. And then when I volunteered at the church for so many years, seeing the people come through each day, and John Solano and his little remarks when he'd come through or go out, he always had something to say to you. And just being around so many Christian people, I think that has been, and we have been selective in our people that we associate with, making sure that most of them are Christian, or if we don't like something from somebody, we just, not because of exactly what they do, it's just but that we don't associate with it. Pick your friends. Pick your friends. God wants you to pick your friends. So, and I think that really helps you to grow.
I had another incident when I wanted to change. Actually, we were improving the house as much as we could, and I was in the basement, and I had used some fluid to clean the floor. And I had gotten up. It was hot down there, so I had gotten up and opened up a window. And then, but I didn't even think about shutting off the hot water heater or anything. And I had opened the doors to the hot water heater. And so I had opened up the window, and I was standing up, and I saw something on the floor that was there, and I just reached down to pick it up, and at that time the hot water heater kicked on, and it exploded everything, and it burned my hair and took stuff off my back. But had I not leaned down to pick that up, I was history. The fire, of course, our fire alarms went off and everything. The fire truck came, and I never will forget what he said when he called in. He said, "There is a dead man standing in front of me that's talking." I thought that is odd, but I shouldn't have gotten out of that. because it blew the window out. It set the cabinets on fire. It did them damage. That's how much the explosion was. And so, you think about those things and you think, no, I wasn't just lucky. God had other plans, and that's just the way it is.
I'm most grateful for Jesus, number one, and for my husband. He's just been absolutely marvelous over all these years. He just helps out so much, and always encourages you all the time, or tries to help you through anything, any problem. So I think I've relied on him more because of his counseling background and stuff in our later years. But for his leadership, for when he started so young as a husband, and over all these years. So I'm really grateful for my husband, and I feel God was, because I prayed before we got married, am I making a mistake? Is this the one? And I feel that God really answered that prayer, that he was the one for me.
I guess I'm grateful for the way I was raised. I didn't like some of that when I was growing up, but the work ethics and the honesty, I think I'm really grateful for that now. And then, of course, the marriage and how that happened. It just seemed like that something like that, the way it happened, wouldn't happen, but it did, and so someone else had to have a hand in that. I'm very, very thankful for my family. If I were just to define that in one sentence, it would be for God's influence in my life and taking over and making things happen. We just don't have any family that are our family that we're responsible for that we aren't proud of, and that's not a lot of families can say that. Why God has done that for our family, I don't know, and maybe I don't need to know. All I know is that that's the way it is, and I kind of think that none of this happened just on what we did or what we didn't do. I think there was a divine influence on that. It has to be, because for whatever reason, I don't know. I just know that's the way it is.
So that's the main thing, is God is there all the time, even though you may not think he's there. But if you just stop and listen and think it through, you know that he's there helping you through all of the things that happen through your marriage. So I'm very grateful for my Lord and Savior.